Good afternoon. It is Friday, November 9th, and it is Fulfilling Life Friday once again. So there's fires in Northern California, so you can smell the fire, and there's ash everywhere. It's a little strange to have fires in November, but yeah. So the question I want to pose to you today is, do you trust yourself? So we're going to cover 3 areas that I think of when I ask myself that question, and hopefully they resonate with you. I kind of just want to say happy November, because I feel like November is an amazing month. On top of that, that means we are closer to 2019, which is great because that means a new year. I am super excited about the upcoming year. I'm also excited about the goals that I've set for 2019. I've already started on those. And at some point, I'll be inviting you all to a webinar, possibly something related to creating goals for 2019. So yeah, stay tuned for that. So getting back to the question, do you trust yourself? So the first thing I wanted to cover was, do you trust yourself to make the right decision for you and others? So firstly, talking about you, I think it's common, unfortunately, for some people to consider putting themselves over others in situations where perhaps you need to be a priority yourself. And I'm not saying that helping other people is not a priority. I'm saying that there are certain cases where you need to determine whether you are the priority in the situation, whether it's involving your health or your interests, your goals, your future. It's important to realize when you should put yourself first, and even consider time-wise, like, do I want to spend my time doing this? Because we have 24 hours a day, but we're only up for less than half of those hours. And so I think it's essential for you to consider time management, consider the people that you want to spend your time with. One of my last Fulfilling Life Friday videos is talking about spending time with people who don't really add to your life or sustain what your goals are, or add to your goals, or speak life into you in order to help you with your goals. So that's another thing to consider, is prioritizing the time that you spend with people. And then prioritizing others. Do you trust yourself to make decisions for others? It is not always about us and what our goals are, and it shouldn't be all the time. But going back to making decisions for you, yes, you are a priority, but you can determine instances and things that you want to make a priority, including others. So do you trust yourself to be able to make decisions for others, sound decisions, not the ones that you just make on a whim, but the ones that you actually think through and consider all of the angles as far as how it's going to affect you and others. And I would just encourage you to be selfless in these instances where you're considering others and a future that involves them, because it's not just about you, you're involving others, which means that you can be affecting the lives of other people, and you should take that very seriously. It is hotter in this car than I thought it would be. Anyways, so the next point I want to talk about is, do you trust yourself to always think of your capabilities? So often we can doubt. I feel like doubt is something that we learn, kind of like fear is something that we learn. So we doubt ourselves because society has taught us to doubt ourselves. It's the norm to doubt yourself. And when you're not doing things that fall into this norm that society says, then we're considered strange or overconfident or arrogant, or whatever the case is. be careful not to cross over into those lines, but yes, it's okay to be confident in who you are and your goals, and your decisions, and spend some time making decisions on things. Don't just make decisions on a whim. Don't make decisions just because someone said that they need to rush and do things. I've had a lot of recent experiences where I'm working with someone on something and they will say, well, we need it by this day. And I had to step back and say, well, I need some time to do this. I need some time to prepare. And it's okay to step back and say, I need time on this, and not have to worry about rushing to meet someone else's needs. So that's something that I have been working on, is working with other people and realizing when to put my foot down, especially as a young professional, especially as a woman of color, especially as a leader. Because I think a lot of people don't combine the two, so they think that you can't be a leader and a young professional. And that's what my issue is that some people, and I'm really wanting to just say some people, will consider your age and immediately say to themselves, or not consider you as a leader, maybe because they have a supervisor role over you. Maybe it's because they have a certain implicit bias. Implicit bias is something that we have biases about that we are not familiar with. So maybe they have an implicit bias about having young people in a role of leadership because they have this paternal, like a parental type of demeanor where they see you as this young person that continually needs guidance or continually needs a direction, to be given direction to do things. And so it can be difficult in situations where you have to be in an area where people don't trust you or are confident in what you're capable of doing. But I always want to relay back to trusting your capabilities and the person that you are, and trusting that you are meant to be there, you're meant to be in that space, you're meant to be exactly where you are. So the final note I want to talk about is being your true self. And I only have a couple of minutes because I'm trying to keep it under 10 minutes so that I can upload it to IGTV later. So the final note is to be your true self. Do you trust yourself to be your true self? So when it comes to figuring out who you are, it's going to take a while. And I feel like the time that is spent on getting to know yourself, the time spent alone, and we often don't like spending time alone because we may associate it with loneliness, but the idea of being alone, where you are being alone in order to get to know yourself, in order to grow as a person, may not be as bad as the one that's associated with loneliness. So if you're spending more time alone for the purpose of growing, for the purpose of knowing yourself so that you'll be more confident in yourself, so that when situations come up and you say, that's not who I am, or that's not something I want to do, then you're confident enough to walk in that and not do it, or not say things that are against what your beliefs are, or not get involved in situations that you wouldn't want to be involved in. Situations where you're in a certain role and you don't want to be seen in a certain way. So that is all I have for Fulfilling Like Friday. I'm gonna get out of my hot car because it's black in here, and which makes everything hot, even though it's 64 degrees outside. But anyways, I hope you have a great weekend. I speak blessings over your weekend, your family, you and your friends, those strangers that you meet, your new friends that are coming in the future, those real ones. I also speak blessings over your goals and your future, your empire, your business, your nonprofit organization, your mind. Blessings over your mind, the stability and sound mind that you have, and your goals that you continue to advance on and think of every day and work on every week. So that is all. I hope you have a great Friday, a great weekend. And until next time, next Friday, I will see you. Well, weird. I will see you then.